Traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. Let me go ahead and grab the bias chart here, and let's get to it. Let me go ahead and get start with this analysis. So let's start with the euro dollar. Okay, so here's the euro. The euro, man, what a massive move yesterday, huh? And actually, there's a few people that took note of this yesterday that said, man, this candle from yesterday. Let's remove these. I'll redraw. Okay, these candles. This candle yesterday looked a lot like the candle, like opposite of the election candle, and it did. I don't think the outcome is going to be quite as easy as what we're seeing here. I don't foresee us going to 112, at least not right now, based on the information that we have in front of us. But I do think that we're going to, make our way higher. The question is, how far is this pullback going to be? Let's say today, all right? Because today, as far as data goes, we have Canadian trade balance, non-farm productivity, U.S. trade balance, factory orders. We got Canadian IVPMI. We got a few things that might move the market a bit, but all in all, it's not going to. I don't think this is going to. It's the kind of news that's going to drive, the euro to 109 today. I think our best bet at this point is seeing what type of pullback are we going to get here to load back up on longs for those people that look and play on the long side, and I would be in that camp. Now, first and foremost, we stopped shy of the 38% retracement. So you can see the 38% retracement came in at 108.07, and I thought we were actually going to hit it yesterday. I thought we were going to break just above 108 just to trip some stops. But we set up a bit of a reversal. We're coming down, and it looks like we're going to come back into some support. So now we got to figure out how far of a dip supports. How far of a dip can we get at this stage in the game? And what I'm going to do is let's get rid of this. Let's pull this one across, okay? Because this is that zone that was a big zone on the way up. Pretty sure it's going to be a big zone on the way down too. So now you take this low here, post Italian referendum, okay, to the highs, right there. The 38% retracement comes in right in the middle of the zone, which is 106.84. Now you have a little breakout point right here at 106.90. So my 2 cents are, at this point, here, let's get rid of some of this stuff. Oops, I don't know if I really wanted to get rid of that, but that's okay. Let's grab this yellow line. Let's move it over here and do that. Okay, and let me take a look at this yellow line. Not relevant at this point. So to me, it seems like a move down to 106.90 is possible. Okay, 106.85, which is basically the 38% retracement. All right. Now, if we're going to get a continuation higher, a 38% retracement makes sense. It's shallow, it's doable, and it's not really going to disrupt us, making another stab higher. Especially if we do a, like an, AB equals CD, looks something like this. Some sort of move that looks like this. That seems possible. Okay, up to 110 if we're going to extend our legs that far. But so what I'll be looking for is a move like that. Now we may not get that. We may only get something that looks like this. It may look like some sort of flag, okay? and maybe it takes us back to the 107 area. Not too sure, but I think that any dip down to 106.80 you got to look at as a possible bounce area. All right, obviously 108.07 is resistance. That is that 38% retracement right there. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. I'll write down 1.0810 is resistance. And right now, we are in a bearish trend. I know you're like, well, Blake, you're looking to buy it. Why are you looking to buy it if we're in a bearish trend? Because it's a counter trend move. We're in a bearish trend, but right now you can't just be a seller every day. I mean, you can, I guess, if you want to. And there are certain times that I feel like I only want to buy or I only want to sell the euro. Right now, frankly, I'd buy the euro on a dip. But I think once we start getting up to 108.50, maybe 109, I will be a seller, and then start looking for really shorts. But right now, I think you can trade either direction. But I still believe the trend is bearish. I think ultimately the euro is going to break down. Is it going to break down today? No. Is it going to break down this week? Probably not. But, I think eventually the euro dollar is going to break lower. All right? Okay. So, sorry, I was just thinking about something. Let's go over to the cable. So the pound managed to hold its support that we talked about. Okay, if you look at the cable, and let's go over to a 4-hour. It'll pop up here in just a second. Okay, there we go. It managed to hold its trendline support yesterday. Okay, and still, I mean, today you can argue it's really still just kind of holding its support, right? And it's continuing to grind higher. Now, the move higher is not convincing, but it's still making its way up there. Now, remember, just for if you guys forgot, before you get all super bullish here, 128.70 is the 618. Previous support comes in almost where we're at. I mean, it's 128, and we're at 127.50 right now. And we've been as high as what, 127.70, 127.74. So between 128 and 128.70, you're going to find some resistance. Okay, 128. $128.70 is resistance. All right, we are in a range in the cable, but we got to start looking or thinking about shorts here. We've got to start keeping that on the radar now. I think we're getting to a very dangerous spot if you're long the cable. All right, support at this point. You got to think this breakout point right here, right there, which 126, was it 126.75? 126.75, that is support. 126.75, that is support at this point. All right. Okay. Let's see. The Swissy. Now the Swissy, if you missed it yesterday, I didn't see this until after the morning edge. Did you see the Euro Swiss yesterday? That is the Swiss National Bank hard at work post-Italian referendum. Okay, come on, Euro Swiss, any day. All right, there we go. So that was like the Euro. That was the Swiss National Bank at work. Okay, And if you go back to the Swiss franc, when you start looking at things like that, I start to question, are we going to, even get to parity at this point? Okay. The dollar Swiss, and if it does, that really, reinforces my idea that I've got to be long at parity if we can get it. All right. Now, let's get rid of this for a second. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of these because you already know what I'm thinking here. Let's get rid of that. And let's do this. Low to high. Okay. 38% retracement comes in at 99.5. I doubt we're going to make it there, but yeah, we got to just think about it just in case, just in case we make a dip. But parity is going to be key on the way down. Okay. Now, on rallies, we are going to get stopped up at 102. I just don't think we're going to make it up to 102. I mean, maybe we will. I mean, if the euro drops down to 106.80, maybe we get somewhere within proximity of 102. But I really think that the dollar Swiss is bullish, and we just want to be a buyer on a dip. Hopefully we can dip, because right now we're only dipping to the 24% retracement. Which, matter of fact, maybe I should write that down at this point. Okay, which is the 24% retracement at this stage in the game. Okay. All right. Let's go over to the dollar yen. So I have a little yen exposure long. I'm actually short some dollar yen. I know I told you guys this yesterday. I don't think we're going to get it to 115. I just don't. I think too many people want it up there. Too many people are looking at this. Too many people are looking at the same thing. Too many people are saying, okay, this is previous support. That's the 618. I'm going to sell here. I feel that yesterday, when we hit that 114.70 yesterday, right here, that may have done it. Now, I may be wrong. Okay, I may be wrong. And what's going to be very interesting today is watching this trend line. See this blue trend line? That is important. Okay, the low here is 113.30, or the trend line is at 113.30. If that breaks, so I'm going to say this very closely. Did I just write that down correctly? Oh no, I didn't. 113.30. That's important support, because if this breaks, we have a double top, and we will make our way lower at that point down to 111, maybe 50, something like that. The flip side is, if we break here, we're going to finally go to that 115.50, I think, and then roll over. So the thing is we're in this, see this bullish wedge development right now? Okay. So above 114.75 would give us that last gasp, if you will, to 115.50. It is bullish. Yes, I am trading counter trend at the moment, but I think either way, it gets up to 115.50, you got to look for a short. It gets down to 111.50, and that's going to be a place to be on the long side. Okay. That's correct. Okay, let's go over to the Canadian. Now, the Canadian, I, I, I guess I shouldn't say this. It's surprisingly strong considering the fact that crude oil failed at 52 bucks yesterday. So I'll say it again. It is surprisingly strong for crude oil failing at 52 bucks yesterday. Now, I shouldn't say surprisingly because my colleagues here at Forex Analytics, they did a blog post, if you guys don't recall. By the way, if you haven't started your $1 trial, you should do so on Forex Analytics. Anyway, this is the CAD setup to surprise the upside. Now, this was, from a couple of weeks ago, but this outlines why the Canadian currency is so strong. Okay, this blog post right here. So I should say I'm not surprised that the Canadian is so strong at the moment, but it is strong considering that crude oil just looks, like crude might actually fail at 52 bucks. We broke yesterday the 132.50 level, but let me just tell you that this 618 right here is pretty important. All right, and if that 618 gives way, which is 132.25, I would be really careful being long the dollar Canadian. And I'm going to, because I think as you guys know, it's been bullish. As long as we're above 133, it's bullish. Or excuse me, I kept saying that, as long as it's above 133. But we've given it a little leeway because this is the zone, right? We're still basically in this zone. I mean, for all intents and purposes, yeah, we're slightly lower right at the moment, but it's a zone. It's an area. I think that if we break below this 132.25, then we have to start thinking, man, we are making a decisive break lower in the dollar CAD, and that'll take us back down towards 131. But I still think it's a bullish trend. It's just you got to be very careful with it. Got to be very careful with it at this point. Stocks are pushing higher at this moment, FYI. Bonds are pushing a little lower too. Okay, resistance. Well, this yellow line, this one right here, that one we need to be respectful of because it's respected, the market's respected it here and here. That's 133.50. And frankly, I mean, I do have, and just so you guys know, I'm short some New Zealand Canadian. I want to add to it below 94 cents. I mean, that's just, we do have the dairy auction results today for New Zealand, but I'm short some of this New Zealand Canadian. We were getting close to 94 cents yesterday. We were at like 94.20, and I said, I'm going to short a little, and I shorted a little, and I'm still in it. But below 94 cents, I'm going to get kind of aggressive here on the New Zealand Canadian. I think it's walking a very fine line at this point. But obviously, if the U.S. dollar Canadian breaks below this 132.25, I don't think that. You take a pair like the New Zealand Canadian, I don't think it's going to be able to hold up the weight. I think it's going to break through 94 cents eventually then. But anyway, just some food for thought. What was I doing? I was just doing the Canadian. Let's do the Kiwi really quick. Okay. Here's the Kiwi. Now we do have, like I said, we have dairy auction results coming out today. Now we wrote down resistance as being 71.70. Right? That's what we've been writing down. Overnight, we went as high as 71.60, 59 and 9/10 of a pip. So this is resistance, okay? 71.70. Support. Well, I want to write down support as being, the 618, but it really isn't now, because what we are defining is an upsloping trend line, right? So now support is going to be at 70 by the time we get here. If we drop 70.90, I still feel it's bearish. Unless we take out that 71.70 or 72 cents, I think we have to keep it with a bearish designation. We get back above this blue trend line here. We get back above that blue trend line, then I'm going to think we're back in a range. All right, but while we're below that blue trend line, I think you got to stay, with a bearish slant. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. When I come back, we will continue on with our analysis. All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I'm going to finish up our morning analysis, then I'll answer some questions from you guys. Let's go over to the Aussie US dollar. Okay, so here's the Aussie. And, like I said earlier, I'm watching really as this trendline support. And we held the 75-cent level, which, I personally thought we were going to break higher. I was wrong. It didn't. Following the RBA decision last night, we actually ended up pulling back, and couldn't take out 75 cents or this. I still think that 75 cents is just key. It is. All right. The good news is the range is tightening. So now support is this low, which is 74.30. If that breaks, then then there's going to be some more downside, obviously. Okay, so 75 cents, I'm going to put an asterisk there because I think it is critical to keeping this bearish move alive. All right, now let's go take a look at the dollar index. So the dollar index, we have a head and shoulder pattern in play. What that means is now any move up to 1.0050 or maybe even slightly higher to 1.0060 is going to be resistance. 100.60. That should be resistance on the way up. And support, okay, is, well, let's figure out why we stopped where we stopped. All right, this is the dollar index, so let's go ahead and grab a fib. Take this low here to the high. Support at 99.70 is a 38% retracement. The 50% retracement is 98.98, which you guys know that 99 is going to be support in my view. So I'm going to write down 99.70 and 99, just in case we do break 99.70 today. Okay, those are supports. Now, I think overall the dollar is still bullish. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be a pretty move higher now. And I mentioned this yesterday. I think the dollar is eventually going higher. It's just not going to be pretty. We're going to jack around here a little bit, then continue to go higher. But I don't think that this is the right time to be bearish either. Even though I'm selling dollars, I just don't think that the trend has shifted from being bullish to bearish. That's not my idea at all. I think that it's still actually quite bullish. We're just backfilling a little bit, catching the people that got super bullish the dollar, who thought we were going to 110 immediately on this breakout. I think it's just catching those people off guard. I think that we're just dipping back below the breakout point, stopping. Weak hands are getting stopped out now, and that's going to continue for a little while before we continue on our upward trajectory. All right, so so the dollar index is bullish. It's just we're pulling back in that bullish move. let's go over to the peso. Now, the peso the peso itself looks strong. The dollar peso is actually breaking below this support. Now, I do not have a US dollar Mexican peso short on, which pisses me off to 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 pretty much on, in every way, shape, and form possible, because I'm still upset at myself for missing this move. Just for not getting short up here. I think that we'll probably end up finding some support. Hopefully, I'll get another opportunity, or we'll get another opportunity to sell the dollar peso higher. But the fact of the matter is, the U.S. dollar Mexican peso is starting to show some signs of weakness. Right? I really believe that the market is finding out slowly but surely that Donald Trump's words were just words. His promises that he made, a lot of them are never going to materialize, and one of them being, the wall. so, so with that being said, the peso, just getting slammed because of the Trump trade, if you will, and round, I think, is going to eventually reverse course. So, but unfortunately, I'm not short at the moment, which I'd like to be short. I just, I'm not going to do it right at this moment in time. I'm not going to sell, as it's just been dropping for the last few days. Support will be at 2027. Resistance. Remember, the 618 is at 2070 or 2090, but we went as high as 2088, 87, 2087. So 2087 is resistance. Just unfortunately, we're not going to make it all the way up there. Not today. Not in my opinion. I think if we break back above here, let's do this. So if we rally back above 2054, that's probably going to squeeze a little bit. That should be near-term resistance for today. Still bullish while we're above 20, but it's starting to show some signs of weakness, as you all can see. All right. Let's go over to the Norwegian Krona. Wow, crude is dumping right now. Crude selling off. This Norwegian Krona basically hit the 618. $833. If we can get back above 840, we're going to see that squeeze up here. $833, 840, and it is it's bullish, or yeah, it's still bullish. I forgot this is that broken trendline support. No wonder we're getting supported down here. So as long as it holds above 833, drops below 833, it's gonna alter things a bit. US dollar Swedish krona. Wow, I didn't see that we dropped all the way down to 909 yesterday. We rode down 909 yesterday. We went as low as 909. Damn, I missed that. 9.09. That's major support. And you know what? I can write this down. This is major support down here too. This is what's keeping the bull market alive in the Norwegian Krona. Now the Swedish Krona is just extremely bullish. I mean, we can drop all the way down to 886 and still be bullish. I mean, it could take a serious, pullback and still be bullish. Now, let me double check something. Where is resistance from here? Like, let's say we bounce a little bit. I mean, if you think that the Swedish krona is like kind of peaked near term, and you're like, okay, well, I just want to get short because I think the euro is going to bounce to 109 or whatever your ideas are. We're kind of at resistance right now, so if we get up to 917, maybe that's a place where you look for shorts. Actually, 918. But remember, it's a bullish trend. So if you're trying to fade it, just remember you're trying to fade a very bullish trend. It's like, me shorting the dollar yen. It's a very bullish trend, so you have to do it very carefully. Okay. All right, your bias chart is finished. So let me see if I can take some questions.